With the LG G3, LG is looking to continue the positive trend of the G2 and attempt to take a chunk out of the Galaxy's sales. Sure enough, the device looks to be a worthy contender. While LG is using the same design language as it had on the G2, this is an overall much more mature device. The G3 features a much nicer feeling back with a fingerprint-proof Fox metal cover. While this is still plastic, it feels much nicer, and combined with the curved back, it helps the 5.5-inch device fit in the hand very comfortably. The motto of the LG G3 is "Simple is the new best", and you can see it in many areas of the device. You can notice the back of the device is much cleaner than the somewhat cluttered G2, and also the buttons have a simpler look to them. The cover material helps the phone look much nicer, and it's certainly a nice looking device. LG has decided to put the charging port in the bottom next to the earphone jack, and on the top is the infrared port. LG has again incorporated its knock-on technology, which allows you to put the buttons on the back and still turn on the phone while it's on its back. As you can see, the phone has a removable back, and you just need to pull on the side of the phone to get it off. One of the biggest changes with the G3 is LG's decision to incorporate a removable back, which allows you to remove the battery. In our experience, we tend to get around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time. While that is somewhat disappointing, that's what you can expect with the Quad HD screen, which obviously takes much more power than the 1080p display of the G2, out of which we managed to squeeze up to 7 hours of screen on time. Nonetheless, thanks to the removable back, whenever you run out of battery, you can simply pop out the massive 3000 mAh battery and insert a new one. So if you carry a spare battery, you can easily get 8 hours of screen on time. While that's good, it might be more convenient to just stick with one battery, and while 5 hours of screen on time isn't amazing, it will certainly get you through a day's work without running out. Under the hood, you can also find a micro SD card slot, which would allow you to bump your storage up to 128GB. The standard options are 16GB/32, but in the real world that means around 10 to 24 since the system takes a lot of space, so you might find yourself in need of an SD card. A big issue with the G2, at least to music lovers and other users which love using their speaker, was the volume. Similarly to its brother, the Nexus 5, the G2 suffered from a relatively low maximum volume output, which made it unheard when you were in a noisy room / party or etc. The G3 definitely outdone itself in that perspective. LG has implemented the 1-volt speaker, which definitely matches the other flagships and delivers a very loud volume. While all is good when the speaker is exposed, LG's choice to place it on the back gives some problems when it's lying down on the table, and it would have been better if LG put it on the bottom like on the G2. Overall, the speakers are still very good, and no user should have a problem in that category. As you can see, the volume/power buttons received a makeover in the G3. While the power button is now round instead of rectangular, the volume buttons are more oval. The buttons now deliver a much nicer experience, and I personally love the improved feedback, since you can really feel and hear when you click and press the buttons, unlike the G2, which didn't really deliver any feedback, and they're much nicer to press. The volume buttons can also serve as shortcut keys, and while the upper one leads to the somewhat useless quick memo, pressing long on the lower while the screen is turned off will get you to the camera app. This is one of the places in which LG's "Simple is the new best" motto is most visible. While recently manufacturers are only focused on cramming more and more camera modes and options and toggles, LG realizes that most of these modes are very similar and the average consumer doesn't need that many options. You have a touch and shoot mode, which enables you to quickly focus and immediately take a picture by simply pressing the screen, a feature which is enabled mainly thanks to the laser focus, which allows for very quick focus. This is great for those who simply want to take a quick shot without messing around with the settings. If you press the three dots in the upper right corner, you can customize the camera further. LG has decided to only offer three camera modes with an HDR option. In the settings, you can choose up to 13 megapixel photos, and you have the option of 4K videos. Thanks to the SD card slot, taking 4K videos shouldn't be a problem since your memory can handle it. In our experiences, the pictures turn out to be very good, and we'll show more on that later. You can also say a variety of things in order to take a picture, such as cheese and etc. One thing you have to give to this device, and that is the absolutely stunning display. While the differences between Quad HD and Full HD might be questioned, LG's preloaded video looks absolutely stunning on the device, and it certainly looks better than the standard Full HD. No matter how close you look, you'll never manage to detect any pixels, and this is one of the best displays on the market. Some people criticize the display, claiming its brightness output is no match when it is held in direct sunlight. In my personal experience, I would call rubbish on that, as the display is clearly visible in any conditions. Overall, the display is greatly improved from the G2 and delivers one of the best experiences on the market. After debuting it on the LG G2 Pro, LG has implemented the knock-out technology in all of its recent handsets, including porting it via an update to the G2 and the G Flex, and it was obvious the LG G3 will feature knock-out. In order to find knock-out, you enter the settings, from there go to lock screen, and once you enter lock screen options, you need to press select screen lock, and knock-out will be one of the options. What knock-out does is basically enable you to select a pattern of between 2 to 8 taps on one of the 4 areas of the screen and set that as your lock screen. You also set the recovery code in case you forget the knock-out. LG claims knock-out to be the safest lock screen mechanism, and while we would be skeptical as to whether it is truly the best, it is definitely very convenient and cool to use. While you can launch knockouts while your screen is turned off, you can also press the power button and then you get to the lock screen. However, that gets off the purpose, as knockcode allows you to bypass the lock screen and get straight to your phone. The LG G3 home screen has been redesigned and it now offers Google Now from the home screen functionality. You simply need to say OK Google from the home screen and it will take you to the app. Let's try. The Daily Droider. Yeah, not so much. Anyways, um, also, if you slide to the left, you have the LG Health screen, and below you have Smart Tips. The LG Health app is similar to other fitness apps and uses the LG G3 steps counter to determine how many steps you have taken and sets you goals for the day. It can also measure runs and other forms of fitness. As you can see, we have many options. We can measure blah blah blah, how many steps you've taken. You can see. Okay, anyways, in the Smart Tips area, you can see all kinds of recommendations about how to use the phone, and you can press 1 in order to see how to use it. While I didn't find anything new there, you can definitely check it out as it might show you some things about the device which you haven't known before and you weren't aware of. It takes some time to load, but it's nice. One of the advantages of on-screen buttons, aside from the fact it can offer you more screen real estate, is that it allows you to customize the look and functionality of the buttons. LG tries to squeeze the most it can out of that. If you go to Settings, then to Display, and then to Home Screen buttons, you can customize everything about these buttons. First and foremost, you can add 2 more buttons to the standard 3 in the shape of Dual Window, Notifications, Q Slide, and Quick Memo Plus. You can also change the order of them and have 3 to 5 buttons on the screen in any order you wish, which is pretty neat. Another thing you can customize is the background color of the buttons. You can have black, black graduation, white, and white graduation. While the default option is white, I prefer the plain black, but that's up to you as LG lets you change it to your personal taste. You can also make the background of the buttons transparent when you're in the home screen, basically showing you the wallpaper instead of the color background. Another option LG has is to choose on which apps to hide the on-screen buttons and force the app into immersive mode. While that is a neat option, some apps might crash if you enable that, and usually you better not do it, since if it's not optimized for immersive mode, perhaps it's not meant to be. However, you have the option to do it if you want. Like every other OEM except for the Nexus devices, LG implemented many of its own custom apps in the G3. One of these is Quick Remote, which basically allows you to control any infrared supportive devices with your cell phone. As you can see, it has all the options of a regular remote, and you can also set different rooms, for example, the TV in the living room and the TV in the den. And in our experience, it works perfectly. Another thing, another thing you have is the update to the previous Quick Memo in the shape of Quick Memo Plus. You can both do notes on it, you can write whatever you want, you can also insert pictures, and you can take a screenshot of your device and save it into Quick Memo Plus. You have you also have tasks, which is basically the same as Google Tasks, and it basically merges with the calendar in order to tell you when to do specific tasks, whichever task you want basically. You can set it to a specific date, set the time, the due date, etc., and write whatever you want on it. Let's see what else we have here. Also, on the recent apps screen, you can change it. You can have a 3 to 3 apps. You can also have 2 and 2 by 2, one the standard 1 by 1. In our personal experience, we found the 3 by 3 to be the most comfortable. Also, when you are in landscape mode, you can change it from 1 by 1, 2 by 3, and etc. You also have a tasks manager, which is basically a task manager, and it can clear all running applications, but that you can also do with the clear all. The default browser that comes with the G2 is very convenient and is an improvement on the previous G2's browser. As you can see, our own website works pretty well on it, and you can view YouTube videos, etc. Basically, it's like a regular browser. Not many differences than a regular one. It's basically like Chrome. We would actually recommend you to just use Chrome if you're already using it. But whatever, you have bookmarks here, history, recent pages, etc. You can a cool thing here is that you can use it on Quick Slide, which basically means that you can continue using your phone while your browser is still active, and then turn it on whenever you think that you need it. You can see how it works here. You can turn it off, on, and eventually you can just close it. Also, the notification menu got a redesign and it looks much nicer now with a black background and blue thing and blue background of the actual. Overall, this is a very neat phone. LG is quite impressing us in the past couple of years and is really getting on the map. With the LG G3 motto of simple is the new best, this phone is perfect for average consumers who don't need a loaded OS like TouchWiz and look for a simple experience. Moreover, the display of this phone is quite stunning, and it's a shame it comes on the expense of poor battery life. If you don't mind the bad battery life, then this is an excellent phone, and if we ignore the battery part, this could well be the best smartphone of the year. We hope you enjoyed our review, and we'll post a comparison with the G2 in a couple of days.